The 0 point is the center of existence and the middle of all realities. Every other world in existence can be accessed through that sphere of energy. As the 0 point is the original starting point, it is referred to as Reality 0. The 0 point was found in Chapter 1, hidden under Loot Lake in a fortified vault. The original vault was overseen by Singularity, a character with an unknown past, and was never seen again after the 0 point became unstable. According to the father of Fortnite stories, Donald Mustard, the Singularity is pivotal to the story and a super important character to the future of the storyline, so keep an eye out for her. The Fortnite island is in a continuous cycle. Every 22 minutes, a storm closes around the inhabitants and resets the entire island. All builds, all destruction is undone. The inhabitants are unaware of the loop, as they too are reset after each game is concluded. This is due to the effect of the 0 point, which causes memories to be erased and voices to become muted. These combatants are taken from all other worlds outside of Reality 0 via the 0 point. They forget their homeworld within 22 minutes, although there are examples of some superpowered individuals who can hold on to their sanity for a little bit longer. Drift is a character from our very own world, taken from the Californian desert in a freak rift accident. The 0 point itself is controlled by an organization known as I.O., the Imagined Order, a mysterious group who watch the island from outside the loop. The Imagined Order oversee all aspects of each game we play, from supply drops to the content of each and every chest, even to the direction of the storm. I.O. have facilities around the island, some in plain sight and others hidden away, including underneath the island we stand upon. To visit the island or any other reality, the I.O. use a bridge between worlds, known as a pure portal. The pure portal can isolate the vibrations of any world, reality or dimension in existence and create a doorway between the two. There is a second way to do this using sideways tears, which connects two realities directly, but these are considered less reliable and dangerous to be left open. As we know, everyone who enters the loop will lose their memories, but in fact there are two ways to prevent this. The first is to bring a portal device, effectively a shard of the 0 point contained in a carryable sphere. There is also a pocket-sized version of this, which was found in the Batman series. It was a bit broken though, so we don't know what it really looks like. The second way is to wear a self-contained suit, an airtight vessel which prevents the effects of the island from interfering with the user. In theory, both these options let the individual speak and retain memories in between loops. Although memories become distant and more detached after a single loop on the island, it is confirmed that emotions remain intact. Feelings and natural senses stay in place to allow some combatants to trust one another and form unspoken bonds. There is actually a way to leave the loop, discovered by Batman himself. He taught us that being the sole survivor in the final storm circle of a match would allow the winner to escape. Once out of the loop, the character is free to live on the island without the effects of memory loss or storm circles affecting them. Unfortunately, those outside the loop remain trapped on the island with multiple death barriers in place to halt any exodus. At least 11 people have been recorded escaping the loop. This includes the first ever Renegade Raider, also Fishsticks, Catwoman, and the last one at the time of writing this, the Foundation. The loopers who escaped found a way into the I.O. facility underground using a vibration frequency to unlock one of the island's bunkers. The I.O. facility is protected by rock-like creatures who can only be bested by destroying a glowing rune on their heads. Inside the I.O. bunker is the bridge, which contains the pure portal. Batman informs us that each reality has a different vibration. Each is completely unique, and by successfully isolating the movement, each of the escapees can return home. Unfortunately, if you die outside the loop, you die permanently, and some characters have done that indeed. Aeronaut passed away testing the death barriers on the island, and the Eternal Voyager jumped into an uncalibrated pure portal and was ripped to shreds. And Fishsticks was murdered by Deathstroke. Once a person jumps back through the portal into their own reality, all their memories from their entire life return, although it does take a minute or two. They also remember their time inside the loop. It should be noted that Batman attempted to free Harley Quinn from the loop, yet she escaped, and currently her whereabouts is unknown, but she's outside the loop. Whew, we need a break for a second. Here's Brutus. Okay, break over. Back to work. As we've said before, the Imagined Order can visit the island via the pure portal, but upon returning, a snapshot is left behind. A perfect clone of the person who escaped, exactly the same in every single way. But without the pure portal device, they become one of the loopers. Their memories in tatters, destined to replay the same 22 minutes over and over again. Many of the snapshots are taken from an IO agent named Jones. He is regularly sent onto the island to research the loop in the name of science. He was the first to ever leap into the 0 point, and thus has more snapshots than any other character. Bunker Jonesy is one of those snapshots, and although the majority of his thoughts are gone, he's still able to remember small facts and ideas. He told us about snapshots existing and how the loop affects us all. Bunker Jonesy was revealed to have foresight, predicting a fight between a devourer and a mech. It remains unknown as to how he knew this, but he was certainly right, and that live event was insanely good. Another quick note, following that fight, the mech flew into space. It's uncertain where they went to, and it feels like the time my dad went to get milk 6 years ago. At least one of the IO guards was revealed to be a snapshot of Agent Jones during the Batman 0 Point comic book series. This heavily implies IO create snapshots to be recruited into their army of soldiers, strengthening their ranks constantly. There is a second mysterious organization we should know about, who are vehemently against IO. These are the Seven. The Seven, we believe, are named after the founding 7 members of the team, with the core mission of breaking the loop and liberating the 0 Point. They want to free the Great Orb of Energy from the clutches of the Imagined Order. The first member of the Seven is the Visitor, who arrived in Chapter 1, Season 4, inside a black meteor. He attempted to locate the 0 Point using a rocket before causing a crack in reality above us. The second member of the Seven is the Scientist, who arrived in Chapter 1, Season X. This season included time anomalies, which saw the Season 4 meteor hovering above the ground. The Scientist then created a second rocket to complete the Seven's plan. During his time here, the Scientist also built rift beacons, another way to open sideways rifts or gateways to other worlds. This allowed the rocket to be constructed using parts from other realities. The third member of the Seven is the Paradigm, whose impact on the story is unclear. It's likely she works with the Scientist and the Visitor to successfully crash the meteor into the 0 Point. But this period of time is heavily shrouded in mystery and could be rewritten at any moment. Although this looks like an attempt to destroy the 0 Point, it was actually a perfectly timed attack to change the loop and affect the bridge and the pure portal there. Primitive voice recordings were discovered in Season X, left by the Seven, giving us step-by-step instructions on what to do with that rocket. Following the black hole, the 0 Point re-emerged and the cycle began again on a brand new island. The fourth member of the Seven is the Foundation, the leader of the group. He is currently on the island outside of the loop in the final days of Chapter 2. We'll get back to him very soon. The 0 Point energy is so strong that it once attracted Galactus, the Devourer of Worlds. He flew across multiple universes to the island in an attempt to consume the 0 Point. His herald at the time, Thor, was able to prevent this by using another gateway between worlds to bring the Avengers here. He used the Bifrost as Guardian technology. Many of the Avengers succumbed to the island's effects, yet Tony Stark was able to work throughout the season to create his own rift beacons to transport his lab from New York over to the island. Stark used gamma cells to defeat Galactus as he cloned the battle bus a few billion times. This caused a rift to be created which took Galactus and all of the Avengers back to their own world, leaving behind snapshots in their place. Before leaving, Galactus ripped the 0 Point out of the ground, which caused a chain reaction as the orb destabilized. By the way, we know of many states the 0 Point can be in. Fully stable and vaulted away. Unstable, there's many versions of an unstable 0 Point. We've seen the 0 Point in bloom, we've seen the 0 Point enclosed, and we've seen the 0 Point collapse, aka cataclysm, which created the black hole. We've also seen a projected 0 Point state in the live event of Season 2, Chapter 2, which leads me to Midas. Just like the myth of King Midas, this guy has the ability to touch things and turn them into gold. Unlike the myth of King Midas, our Midas does this through choice. Touching them alone doesn't change them into gold, it's optional. Midas was revealed to be working on a 0 Point device under the agency at the center of the island. Here we saw an image of his daughter, who is also a character in the game, Jules the Engineer. Midas's device was seen forcing back the storm in an epic battle for power, but by the end the storm won out and the cycle continued again. During this 10 minutes we were able to escape the loop a few times for a few moments. We found ourselves in the IO facility and the office of Agent Jones. He spoke to us very briefly. Mere days before this event began, the Cyclo uniform was discovered in Midas's room, a self-contained suit. That suit and Midas' history remained shrouded in mystery, just like his secret first shadow unit, including Chaos Agent, who has the power to create slurp beings from loopers. The aftermath of this escape attempt caused a tsunami to engulf the island, and your mum's favourite superhero arrived.
No.
Okay, let's take another break. This time it's Chun-Li. Feeling refreshed yet? Everyone loves Groot dancing. Let's get back to this. During Season 5 of Chapter 2, the 0 Point faced imminent collapse, so much so that the majority of IO abandoned the island. During this period, one of the most loyal IO agents, John Jones, refused to evacuate and instead used a pure portal device in a last gasp attempt to save reality. IO most definitely saw this as betrayal and that Jones has defected to the opposition. Jones's actions brought the Foundation to the island, and once again a member of the Seven arrived in a meteor. Immediately the Foundation attacked Jones, heavily implying the two know each other and were enemies from the Seven and IO. Jones was able to stop this onslaught by shouting Geno. At present, we still don't know who or what that is, and we also don't know who the sisters are either.
And the sisters?
But answers are coming. The promise to deliver the sisters and Geno is enough for the Foundation, who agrees to work with the former IO agent. The two prevent the second collapse of the 0 Point. Jones, with our help, closes the sideways rifts that popped up around the island, while the Foundation held together reality itself. Ultimately, this attempt was going to fail, so a new plan was hatched. The Foundation locked himself inside the 0 Point to give it time to heal, sacrificing himself to protect the orb. John Jones also made a telling sacrifice, handing over the portal device, knowing that in 22 minutes he'd become yet another mindless looper stuck on the island. This plan was successful. A spire grew around the Foundation and the 0 Point, protecting reality. Eventually, an alien race arrived on the island and blew that spire up. This caused the Foundation to fall into reality NF1935, the DC Universe, and Gotham City, as that was the last frequency used by the pure portal below. The Foundation teamed up with the Justice League to prevent DC villains from coming to the island through a sideways rift which had opened in Metropolis. It turns out that IO is in cahoots with the Batman Who Laughs and Lex Luthor, and now has the technology in place to make those rifts to other worlds without a pure portal. Only one DC supervillain makes it into the rift, the Batman Who Laughs, who is quickly pursued by the Foundation. Foundation is victorious and wins the match and leaves the loop immediately, so the Foundation is currently on the island outside the loop. The Batman Who Laughs, on the other hand, is now locked in a loop, destined to repeat the same 22 minutes over and over again. But plot twist, he's actually not affected by the island's force. Thanks to his visor, which was created in the Dark Forge, he's immune to memory failure and speech loss. At this point, we don't know if this is plot armor or if dark matter is the way to overpower the island's forces. Back to the alien invasion. To counter this new threat, IO sent another operative onto the island, Dr. Sloan, who up to this point was Agent Jones's commanding officer. Sloan is depicted in images as a child genius and a long-time servant of the Imagined Order. Using her high intellect and emotional manipulation, Sloan had us deliver bombs onto the alien mothership, which she explodes whilst we're still on it. Don't worry, we survived. This ship contained cubes, hundreds of cubes, which crashed down on the island below. Back in 2018, we actually saw one of these cubes before. A beam of energy hit the desert biome and created a cube of dark matter, known as Kevin the Cube. The cube led us to Loot Lake and revealed a fiend world to us, filled with grotesque creatures. The mysterious power of the cube took us into a place between worlds in which we first encountered a rift butterfly, our first indication that we're living in a multiverse. Kevin the Cube was then made into a power source for the inhabitants, who made a nuclear power plant from the cube remains. Back in 2021 now, and all those events were confirmed to be acts of a faction known as the Last Reality, a mixture of chimera aliens and cube fanatics. The leader of the Last Reality is the Cube Queen, who remained hidden for the majority of their invasion attempt. The Cube Queen is more than a military leader. She's responsible for the Rift Tour, a seemingly harmless music event which was in fact a ruse to scan the brains of loopers while they listened to mediocre pop music. The Last Reality mobilized the cubes on the island. They rolled around like crazy. This included the resurrection of Kevin the Cube from 2018, who broke out of the nuclear power plant, and along with all the other blocks, created a cube town above the 0 Point's last known location. As I'm saying this, the Cube Queen sits above the cubes, creating a pyramid. Meanwhile, Dr. Sloan and Io are frantically creating a counterattack offensive, which includes opening the redacted bunker we've been waiting for years. There is one other thing you should know about: a blue cube. During the Skyfire event, we were able to reboot one of the cubes, which became blue. It has since sat on the map doing absolutely nothing. At some point, this thing will come to life, so let's watch it. There's only a few more days until the end of the season and the event which will end this chapter. We did it! 101 pieces of Fortnite lore. The basics are in place and hopefully this was useful. Thank you very much for watching, it's hugely appreciated. I'm Adam, you're awesome. I'll see you next time.